Welcome back to problem number 5. Now in this problem, we are solving how to remove duplicate characters from any given string. For instance, I've given an example here. Now, let's say you're given a string which is DHCD and you want to return. We basically want to remove all the duplicate characters, which is D. In this case, the resulted string will have only distinct or non-duplicate characters while ensuring the order of the string. Now, this is what we want to achieve using a function that we will implement based on a logic. And the logic is this. I'm going to be using a hash set approach to solve this problem. Let's say you're given a sentence. I'm creating the same string, DHCD. As you can see, it has two D's. So basically, our goal is to remove one D and return a string which would be DHC. Now, our approach would help us do that. How? Let's see. Now, you got a string builder. We'll create two things in this approach. We're creating a string builder and we are creating a hash set of characters. Now, a string builder would help us prepare the result, and the hash set would help us count or store the unique characters. Okay, this is also the characteristics of hash set, which we are going to be using to our advantage. Now, once we have these two, we will go to our condition. And this condition will help us check whether we have already seen that character. Based on the answer, we will build our result. The first character, D, is new. So we will add it to the set, this hash set, and the result would be true. Okay. Now, if it is true, we add that to the result string. Next would be H. H is new, result true. Have we seen this character before? No. We add to the result. For C, again, it's new. So the result would be true. Have we seen the character before? No. So we add to the result. Now, D would go to check. We'll see item is new. Item is a duplicate, which means false. Set already had it, so nothing was added, which means yes, we have seen this character before. In that case, we skip out of the loop the result string, which would be DHC. This would be the result we will get. Now let's go back to Visual Studio and see how the code is going to look like. Now let's create a function that would give us a string. So I'm going to give this as a string returnable. I'm going to make it. Now remove duplicates. Now this function take a sentence as an input. Now initially I want to put a null check. I want to see whether the given input is null or not. If it is, we're going to straight up return the string. Now it's time to create a string builder. Var result. Now this is our string builder. So we will add a string builder Now we need, if you remember, we need a hash set. So we're going to name it scene. Hash set of characters, because we are basically checking the characters. Now it's time for the loop. Actually, I've got a better idea. I'm going to use for each. The optimized for loop. It's going to work in this case because we're going to be running this loop over our sentence. We're going to check for each character to see if we have seen that. And here is the check that we're implementing. We have seen that before. We're going to append to the result. And that's it. Now you can just return the result. Now, if you remember, if you notice, we have a red line under the result, which says cannot implicitly convert type system.text.string builder to string. So since it's a string builder, we have to convert it to string. I'm going to save this. Now let's verify if it's work. For that, I have a test class prepared. This is my test class. I'm going to ask Copilot to basically generate, let's say, 10 to 12 and unit test. Hit enter. Let's wait for it. Okay, I think we have something. Okay, let's quickly go through what it has generated as tests. So we got input, we got expected, DHCD. This is our first example that I had given you. It should give us DHC. We have the second example also included in these tests. And similarly, we got empty string here, and we got null string. We have got with no duplicate. Now this one has no duplicates. Got a lot of duplicates. So let's see. I'm going to save this. I'm going to run these tests, see if our code works. Let's run them. All right. We have one failed. It's interesting. Let's see. The expected was AAB hash C. We got A@BC hash. Okay, let's look at the test. Okay, so initially we got A, we appended to the result, into the result, B, appended to the result, C, appended to the result. Looks like we have a problem in the test because we have C before hash. And if you remember, we want to ensure that we keep the order similar, same to the input. So C would come before hash, not after. And if I save my test and run it again, it shall pass. Voila! All has passed, which means that our code works. And now it's time for the boss approach that I haven't told you about. You see all this line of codes, we can turn them into one single line and it would still work. That is the LINQ approach I'm talking about. If you don't know, let me just show you. I'm going to remove all this code. Now I'm going to, let's say I got a sentence. Just going to use one which is distinct to array. This should be a new string. I know what's happening. We're basically missing the round brackets, and now we have successfully implemented our LINQ approach. Let me hit save. I'm going to quickly run the test. I'm going to clear the results. Okay, now let's run the test again. Show you that this approach also works. Build errors, set, sorry, needs to be closed. Now let's quickly see. Okay, value cannot be null. We didn't implement our null check that we did earlier. Looks like null check is an edge case. I'm glad that we found the edge case here. So now we're gonna quickly implement the null check if it's null or empty for a sentence. Simply return the sentence. And now this LINQ approach has also covered this edge case. Now it should work. All tests should pass. That's it. This is the boss approach that I was talking about. Basically, we have turned all the multiple lines of codes into 2 lines. That's all you need to remove duplicates from a given string. And yeah, it doesn't matter which approach you use. The idea is to basically solve this based on whichever approach you like. The LINQ approach is can be useful, let's say, if there is a time crunch or if you want to impress an interviewer. So I would recommend to use LINQ approach in that case. Other than that, just keep coding, keep practicing,